back to Live on Bowen. It's my pleasure to introduce our next guest, a man who has spent over 40 decades, not 40 decades, 4 decades. not to give him a complex about it's that damn rice. 4 decades at the desk of Melbourne's highest rating news service. He's a television legend in his own right, and with a promo like this, need I say more?
The stories of our lives.
Peter Hitchener, National 9 News.
The moments we'll never forget.
Calculated and ruthless attack.
For 40 years, Peter Hitchener has brought Melbourne's news home. Experience you can trust. Peter Hitchener returns to 9 News, Monday at 6.
Please welcome the legendary Peter Hitchener! Thank you so much. Come on in, take a seat. Wow. Woo! Oh my gosh!
Thank you.
Now, can I call you Pete?
Yeah. Oh, yes, please do.
Thank
yes.
you, Mr. Hitchener. That is awesome. Does that guy who does your voiceover travel with you everywhere? Peter Hitchener now enters work.
Yes.
Peter Hitchener's just gone to the toilet.
Yes.
No.
No. No. In fact, those ads, it was very interesting watching those when they came out on air. I thought, oh my goodness me, look at me. About 100 years ago, suddenly all the chins disappeared and everything looked wonderful. And then I thought, oh no, that was 100 years ago. Now, well, we know what the ravages of time have done.
No, they've made you look hot. Cut it out.
Well, physically hot, yes, but that's about it.
So you have been in the industry, in Melbourne on screens for 4 decades. Yeah. Are you feeling it, or is it just like every day is new?
No, I love the job. That's the trouble. I absolutely love it.
That's a trouble? That's
yes.
a good trouble to have.
Well, I mean, it's a good trouble to have, and how lucky I am that I've been able to do what I wanted to do, decided to do it at school. When I was young, I thought I'd like to be in radio or television or something exciting.
What sparked that for you?
I'm not sure. I think it was growing up in the bush miles from anywhere, and it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Where'd you grow up? Where was the...
Southeast Queensland. A long way from any big smoke, but it was good fun. And I thought at the time, life on the land is tough and hard. I think I'll do something more interesting. I'll go into television, which of course is about as hard as you can get. But anyway, it's
now
good.
Your first big break in the media was on the radio.
Yes, that's right. My first job, not long after school, I was lucky enough to get a job in a newsroom. So yes. I started off reading and writing news pretty much when I left school. Had no idea what I was doing, but you kind of learn on the job. And so there I was, 4BH Monitor News.
Monitor News?
Yes, 4BH Monitor News on the half hour. And I quickly learned about writing and rewriting stories on the half hour, chasing fire engines or whatever the story of the day was, doing radio, doing interviews, phoners with people and editing it up and getting it on air, and it was great fun.
Fantastic.
And I thought, well, actually, I quite like this. I think I could do this for a living.
But you did make the move from radio, obviously, into television because
yes.
we see you on television.
Well, that happened when I joined the ABC, because there you got to do both in those days. So, you might be doing radio one day or a symphony concert or walking out on stage and introducing the conductor in the Queensland Symphony Orchestra. This, by the way, was in Brisbane. Or you might be reading the news.
So the Symphony Orchestra in Brisbane was just one guy in a tank top.
Well, pretty much. And
a kazoo.
And yes, thongs and a hat. But anyway, it was fun. And
so what's the major difference for you from working in radio and in television?
Oh, I think it's very similar, because you're actually just making connections with people, with the audience. So if you're doing radio, you want to get the story, in radio news, get the story over to the listener. And it's pretty much the same thing with television. You just try and make connections with people and let them know what's going on, and not tell them what to think or who to vote for or anything like that. Just say, well, this is what we think the stories are of the day that you might be interested in, and that's what we do.
Yeah, I'm interested in finding out, you've covered so many major events in not only Australian history but world history. Yeah. Are there any that stand out for you that really moved you while you were doing them, or is it just...
Well, there really is one that I can never forget, which is the Black Saturday fires and the aftermath of those, and for a number of reasons, just for the loss of life, and then going up there as we did the next day, really only hours, less than 24 hours after the fires went through, and reporting from the fire zone for a couple of weeks afterwards. And that was a story that was the really significant story affecting us in Victoria. And it spread to around Australia and really around the world. People were interested in what had happened and shocked at what had happened. That's the story I'll never forget. Not a happy one, but you know.
And how do you deal with that? As a newsreader, you have to come across in some way of emotionally away from that. But how do you not let it affect you?
Well, the thing is, it's the story that's important, not what I think about it or not what we think about it. So you try to keep your ideas to yourself and just let the audience make up their mind, because they're much more intelligent than I am. So, you know, you just present the news and you know, let them make up their mind. But it was very hard then. And, you know, we had a personal connection with it at Channel 9 because of Brian Naylor and Moy Ree,
of course,
who lost their lives in the fires. And that we found that out actually during our on-air broadcast that Sunday afternoon.
Oh my gosh!
And it was, you know, it was very tough. But you know, we're not there for our own entertainment. We're there to just report and to be of service.
That's tough. Now, that's an understatement, Rob. Now, one of the big moments in my life was a couple of weeks ago when Peter Hitchener started following me on Twitter.
Oh, yes.
So you are on the tweeties.
Yes, I'm a Twitter addict, I'm afraid. So.
No, don't be afraid of it. That's awesome. So what do you love about Twitter? What's your obsession with
the thing about it is television and radio is a way of communicating to people, but it's not really a two-way street because you don't get people's responses. Twitter, you absolutely do. and I like that. So if anyone follows me on Twitter, I always follow them back because their story is probably much more interesting than mine. And it's a good way of getting it's a good way of getting stories, and people can send you direct messages and be in touch. So I think it's wonderful. It's, you know, there's a kind of a democratization of media, I think, with Twitter, and I think that's fantastic. It's changed how you collect news. First thing I look at in the morning now, before the news, you know, the regular news, is Twitter, just to see what people are talking about. And then you get the mood of the meeting.
Thanks so much, Peter. It's been an absolute pleasure. Peter, thank you for joining us here on the couch. And if you'd like to follow Peter Hitchener, and he'll follow you back,
yes,
go to right there, P. Hitchener 9, right there. Please, a big round of applause for the legendary Peter Hitchener.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you.
We'll be back after the break. Aaron McCarthy goes tap dancing. No, I'm serious. This is Live on Bowen.
After the break, I join the Golden Girls of Tap Dance, the Golden Tappers. You're watching Live on Bowen.